Hey guys, how you doing? This is a continuation of the last video I made on Sri Lanka. I wanted to move on with more health related and scientific videos, but this new information has completely blown me away, guys. This will show us who is truly in charge of planetary affairs and why our ancestors called aliens as gods. I always used to think, like, didn't our ancestors know they were just aliens? If we were there, we in conspiracy and truth movement were there, we could have easily told them, no, our grandparents, they are just aliens. No one should be called gods. No, guys, what they did in Sri Lanka is level not genius, it's level god. We all were fooled on a global scale. What do you think? They implemented it, but on an evil way. But they got exactly what they wanted, guys. This is shocking. That is why I'm making a second part of Sri Lanka video, because have you noticed all the news on Sri Lanka has went pin drop silent, right? You will not see any news on Sri Lanka in the headlines. It has completely been taken away. I have searched all the major news sites, also country wise in Google News. There is no mention of Sri Lanka unless you search it, and it is not like mind blowing stuff like, taking the presidential palace, etc., etc. So you will see why, because they got exactly what they wanted and we got nothing. This is the moment, as they call in the West, gotcha. This is the gotcha moment for all of us, guys. They got us by the balls. Sorry for my French Canadian, but this you will see how powerful the beings we are dealing with, guys. This will show you all the protest amounted to nothing. They wanted Sri Lankans to protest. It is, they are not scared of us humans, as they said during Anunnaki times, guys. We are mere slave species of God. The point is not to disappoint you, but not to get rided up by seeing all these protests in TV, thinking we are finally waking up, as many of the Twitter handles say, power of human. Finally, we have taken over the government. Humanity rules. Nothing could be further from the truth. I will show you. You will be blown away. I wanted to actually move on with other stuff, but this is giving me sleepless nights, guys. Because this will show you why our ancestors called aliens as gods. As I said, this is level god, guys. What they did in Sri Lanka all amounted to nothing. They wanted people to storm the Sri Lankan presidential palace and wave the flag. Nothing. Now you will not see this, I guarantee you. Now Sri Lankans will not be allowed into presidential palace. 100%. They wanted all this because we in conspiracy dig deeper, right? It's all fake for the aliens. This is real for us. We did everything we could, but still the gods are here, guys. We have to do it even more through knowledge, guys. This, I have already said it, this will not amount in a practical in a long term, but the dark forces went way beyond even my wildest expectations. They played so smartly, you will not believe it. That is why you might be thinking why there is no news on Sri Lanka, right? Be ready to be blown away. This is the presidential palace, meeting place, dining place. All the people were let through in, but I can assure you this is the first and the last time. Now Sri Lankans will not be allowed inside, because Anunnaki allowed the slave species of God to visit their control center once, but not twice, guys. These guys or their minions or their hybrid DNA, whatever, but they are still 100% in charge, and their agenda is pushing through. That is what pissed me off to make this video, guys. I am really pissed with myself, especially, like we have a lot to cover the ground. Anunnaki gods of earth, they truly are, guys. We have to accept defeat where they smashed us. In Sri Lanka, they knocked us off the ground with one punch in 5 seconds, the fastest knockout ever possible. We tried to stand up to the gods, and with one single punch, within 5 seconds, we were knocked to the ground. We are losers, guys. I am accepting the defeat because now we can go back to the drawing board and see where we lack and how we could take over. Because this is not a joke, guys. They are very serious and they consider still as slaves. And this proves us what they did in Sri Lanka. You will not expect this to be in Sri Lanka out of all the places in the world, right? Anunnaki is the astronaut gods. I agree. Slave species of gods. Why our ancestors called these aliens, evil dark forces as God? Because they showed their power, because they defeat every generation. Our parents, our grandparents, our great 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 grandparents, the right now this generation is also being defeated by the dark forces, guys. I will come to it. This fourth, we came to all this news right last month, and suddenly the news went away. Fourth Lanka minister resigns, army chief calls for calm. This is by design. He never wanted to shoot a gun for now because it was all planned. They wanted people to come in street, guys. President Rajpal, he is nothing, guys. He is not responsible. The guy who is responsible for all these problems is the president. Yes, Vikramasinghe has become the president. Believe it or not. He is the guy who is responsible for everything that started in Sri Lanka. You will not believe what this guy is. Ranil Vikramasinghe is sworn in as Sri Lanka president. I can assure you he will be there for a long time. You will not believe what he did. This is the guy, what if I told you? All these protests to throw the president and past prime ministers and his cronies amounted to nothing because they put in the guy in Sri Lanka who started it all, guys. That is what pissed and irked me off. This is level God, not genius. We are nothing, guys. Sometimes we are just pawns. As soon as he became president, Sri Lanka President Vikramasinghe declares emergency. His calmness went away. If you try to dash, Ranil Vikramasinghe warns Sri Lankan protesters. Suddenly he introduced military and police and told them to be super tough because the people behind him are the globalists, are the aliens, what our ancestors know as God. That is why he got the confidence, because he knew now no humans will enter the presidential palace. He was assured. That is why his confidence went to stratosphere. But do you know who this guy really is? You will be blown away, guys. Sri Lanka down to last day of petrol. PM Vikramasinghe tells crisis hit nation. We know this is all orchestrated, right? There is actually no crisis because they were looking for a new world order, World Economic Forum agenda, right? But out of all the nations, you would not expect Sri Lanka to be the first one to take the hit, right? But this is the news that kind of made me to relook. Like Sri Lanka, as soon as he became the president, this is what he did. Sri Lanka implements QR code, digital ID, fuel rationing. This started ringing alarm bells on my mind. I am definitely missing something because I looked into. I was not looking that deeper, but this made me really look deeper into what the hell is they are doing to Sri Lanka. This is coming near you, guys. But this is World Economic Forum Agenda 21, right? Exactly 2021, 2022 they started Agenda 2030. Every country will have QR code, social credit system, right? We never expected Sri Lanka would be the one. We thought some European country would be the first one to take the unfortunate hit. Then be ready, guys. What they did is coming up. This made me relook into everything what Sri Lanka has been prepared for. And then this guy came. I can assure you, now he is the president. He will not be removed. There will not be any protest magically. You wait and see. Sri Lanka's new president is a member of the WEF. If you clap it, if you secretly start praying to the Anunnaki gods, I would allow it, guys. This is a master stroke, guys. Do, will you believe it? This is the guy who started the artificial fertilizer shortage, not Rajpaksa, guys. This was his idea. And can you believe it? This guy became the president who started all the crisis. Sri Lanka's new president is a member of the World Economic Forum, but the story doesn't end here. He is the guy who started it all. Sri Lanka's new president Ranil Wickremesinghe, who is enforcing a QR code digital ID program to access gas, is a devoted member and agenda contributor of the World Economic Forum. In fact, this Ranil Wickremesinghe spearheaded the green push during his time as Prime Minister that has led to the fuel crisis currently besieging the pockets of Sri Lankans. Master stroke, guys, level god. The one guy who started it all is become the president of Sri Lanka. Not Rajpaksa. We were fooled that Rajpaksa and his brothers were responsible. They are not members of WEF like he is. And I can assure you, now you will see there will not be any protest in Sri Lanka. Now you will see people will not storm the wall because he will use the might of army. The dark forces told the army to stay calm, right? But he will not be touched again because this is the guy of WEF. And I am afraid this is coming to all the countries near you. In 2016, like 5 years back, Wickremesinghe penned an article for the World Economic Forum entitled The Future of Sri Lanka's Economy, in which he laid out Sri Lanka's role in reducing global emissions and transitioning away from fossil fuels. 5 years back, guys, Sri Lanka's cultural traditions are such that respect for the environment is embedded in the psyche of our people. This is how they twist people's good nature, right? This creates a groundswell of public opinion in favor of sustainable development. This is the code word. In the wake of the Paris Climate Conference, I would like to point out that Sri Lanka is committed to achieving 20% renewable energy usage by 2030. That means half of the world population of Sri Lanka will be dead, over and above the current 35% of hydropower. Environmental sustainability is central to the country's development plans. At the same time, Sri Lanka is ready to be a constructive partner in global climate negotiation. Hilariously, or it would be funny if the state of Sri Lanka weren't so tragic. I know, guys, I am laughing, but inside I am gutted, and we are all. They showed me our place. They put us in our place. Wickremesinghe penned another article for the WF in 2018 in which he boasted of the country's progress and stated that he would make my country rich by 2025. Due to his strict commitment to environmentalism and ESG standards, Sri Lanka was given a nearly perfect ESG score of 98.1 out of 100 by World Economics. Even as signs of country was going bankrupt was clear as day. Nonetheless, Sri Lanka, led by leaders, were more concerned with global virtue signaling rather than well-being of their people, has continued down his current trajectory and is facing fuel, food, financial crisis. Can you imagine? The one guy who started it all. This is climatic, beyond climatic, and a slap in the face of entire human race. They are showing us, guys, who is really in charge. And you will not expect this in Sri Lanka, right? So they rule the entire planet, guys. And what you imagine, they do it. They have that in their DNA. That doing capability has been taken out. So that is the struggle, right? We are all fighting to get back that power. We are powerless. They made us powerless, guys. That problem is in our DNA itself. As previously reported by the Counter Signal, at the heart of the Sri Lankan crisis is a government policy that banned the use of artificial fertilizer in the country to shift towards organic farming. We know this story, right? All this, but the guy who started it is now become the president. Now the government under Ranil Wickremesinghe is implementing a nationwide QR code digital ID as part of fuel rationing scheme. So as I said, they got us by the balls. This amounted to nothing, guys. All these protests that we saw as headlines was orchestrated. I can assure you, now this will not happen. This is that is what, like, it is a sad state of affairs of human race, guys. Now they will suffer even more because this guy is the one who started it all, and they put him in charge. As you can see, World Economic Forum, Ranil Wickremesinghe, he has already written the article. Sri Lanka PM, this is how I will make my country rich by 2025. How can South Asia boost free trade? He has written articles for the World Economic Forum. So they are moving ahead with one world government and one world currency digital ID, but it will be far worse, guys. I hate this one thing called rationing, because it is abundant. Fuel is abundant. As I made my last video on Venezuela, Sri Lanka can even now get for 1 rupees 0.002 cents, but that is artificial scarcity is forcing us to take QR code digital ID, and this could be implemented all over the world, but we wouldn't see it coming, guys. They make it look like, with the protest and taking over this all looks amazing, we feel very confident. Finally something is happening on earth, we'll be free, etc., etc. But nothing could be further from the truth, guys. Sri Lanka is about to face even far worse times, but it will not be televised. Yeah, guys, I wanted to make another video on this durian, but this kept pestering me. I had sleepless nights thinking about what they are doing to Sri Lanka. They fooled all of us. But this video I will make, this is, if you are in Southeast Asia, if you have access to durian, please start taking it. Out of all the fruits, this is the best one. I cannot believe it. I only got hold of it in the last few weeks of when I was living in Thailand. But I will tell its properties and what it did to my health. It's amazing, but it has projected in a way that you will be put off with it. I will cover this in my next video. Thanks.